Fresh off an exciting 8-7 win last night here in Kansas City. Some fresh faces for you. Daytime baseball in Kansas City. And a very nice afternoon as the Rangers and the Royals finish up a very brief two-game series from here in the city of Fountains. The Rangers are in first place in the AL West by a full 3 games now. We welcome you to Texas Ranger Baseball, and along with Tom Grieve, I'm Josh Lewin. Vladimir Guerrero continues to be quite the storyline for the Texas Rangers here in 2010. Couple home runs yesterday, 5 runs batted in.
Yeah, he continues to lead the offense. There's no doubt about that. In yesterday's ball game, it started right off the bat in the first inning. Vladdy got a first pitch fastball and slammed it off the back wall of the Ranger bullpen. Then a hanging curveball went a little bit farther. Those were good pitches to hit. Then his third time, this wasn't a good pitch to hit. It's about a foot inside, and somehow he rips a double down the line for his 5th RBI in the ball game. He continues to pound Kansas City, but then again, he's pounding everybody. 347 average is second, 12 home runs are 4th, and he leads the league in RBIs.
Still a bit of a mystery man to a lot of Ranger fans. We're going to get in depth a little bit today and tell you about some of the history of Vlad Guerrero and what makes him such a special player. He's got help, of course, in that lineup. Nelson Cruz among the guys really stepping it up. Nelly had a home run yesterday. The Rangers ready to rock and roll once more, taking on Kansas City when we come back.
Hi there, welcome into the Fox Sports Studios. John Radigan here as the Rangers try to get a royal flush. We're not talking poker, rather baseball. The Rangers will have played the Royals 6 times thus far this season, and if they win today, that'll be 6 wins in a row this season, and it'll make it 7 in a row overall, which would tie the longest win streak ever against this Royals franchise. You got to go back to those championship teams of 98 and 99. The last time the Rangers won 7 in a row against the Royals. They got a chance to do that today. The 6 in a row represents 1 victory last season and the 5-0 record they have already compiled this year. Of course, these two teams play against each other a lot in spring training as well, so familiarity is definitely there. A couple of games already underway. The White Sox with 3 runs scored in the 6th inning. They scored 2 in the 4th to take a 5-1 lead on Cleveland in another battle of the American League Central. The Yankees in Minnesota are playing the suspended game from last night. Weather got them last night in the 5th inning, so they got to finish that one, and then they will play another game. Those two teams, the Twins, of course, first place in the American League Central. The Yankees at 2nd place in the American League East, although both teams have identical records, and Detroit and Seattle, of course, have a game coming up this afternoon as well. We'll keep you updated on those as we continue throughout the afternoon. And don't forget, you have the opportunity to sit at your house and vote for your favorite Ranger to the All-Star game. Please exercise your right to vote and vote for Young, Kinsler, Hamilton, Vlad, Nelly Cruz, any one of those guys to the All-Star game. They're deserving. Baseball and first pitch coming your way next from Kauffman Field in Kansas City. We're back after the game with Rangers Live.
Texas Ranger Baseball brought to you by the Ford F-150. Check out the 2010 F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Texas. By Progressive. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. By Jack in the Box. Try Jack's new grilled breakfast sandwich. And by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag. It's on. Got a nice 85-degree afternoon here in Kansas City. No rain in the forecast, and Elvis Andrus set to lead it off against the 4-2 Luke Hochevar, in with a 5.37 ERA. Quick look at the Rangers' batting order. Andrus, Young, Kinsler, Guerrero, Hamilton, Cruz, Smoke, Trainer, and Bourbon. As Hochevar is in with ball 1 to a guy who's been hitting so well. Elvis Andrus facing Hochevar, and we'll scout Luke Hochevar out before we do anything else. Get you back to that in just a moment.
He's had 9 starts. He's 4-2. One of the reasons he's 4-2 is because the Royals have scored 7.5 runs a game for him. May 9th at Texas did not go well. 3 starts ago, didn't get out of the 3rd inning. Only gave up 3 hits in that game, but he walked 4. Just threw a lot of pitches.
He had a fantastic effort on this mound against the Rangers last July. No walks, 13 strikeouts in 7 innings, and kind of underscores what we've said and the Royals have said about Hochevar now for a couple of years. You just don't know what you're going to get. Inconsistency. My name is Hochevar.
He's only given up 2 home runs this year in 52 innings. He's walked a little bit too many, 24 in 52 innings, not alarming. Opponents hit 266 against him, about average. But on any given day, like his last start, he can tune up a gem against Cleveland. 9 innings, 4 hits, complete game in 107 pitches.
The Royals, as I'm sure you've noticed, are not wearing royal blue today, but the light blue, their alternate jersey tops. The Rangers wear closer to royal blue today. Andrews sending one to right. Willie Bloomquist, who had a very strong game yesterday, towards the line to make the catch. Bloomquist kind of stole the show out there in right yesterday, along with Mayer and Podsednik. Piaspo, Aviles, Getz, and Butler round the horn. And the veteran Jason Kendall. This is game number 1,952 as a major league catcher for Kendall. That's 5th all time. That brings up Michael Young, he of the 11-game hit streak. The 8-7 win yesterday had the Rangers gaining a game on Oakland. The A's lost in Baltimore. The Rangers breaking free for 4 home runs, all off of Gil Mesh, a guy that had given up only 3 all year. Of course, Vladimir Guerrero had 2 of those 4 home runs.
Good stuff so far for Hochevar. Fastball's been mid-90s, as high as 96. That cutter right there was 91 miles an hour.
Going for the outside corner, didn't get it there. Eric Cooper calling balls and strikes, by the way. Some room in left center here for Michael Young. They shade him to go towards right, as of course he has done so often in his career. 1,721 hits now for Michael as a Ranger. 1747 is franchise record. That's what Pudge Rodriguez has. 26 hits to go. Towards center field, and Meyer will run it down for out number 2.
Good fastballs for Hochevar that have been put in play. Both Elvis and Michael a little bit behind on the ball. Ball got in on them both. They both got jammed slightly. Balls were hit okay, but not enough to cause any problems for the outfielders.
Well, the outfielders played a spectacular game for Kansas City yesterday. And it was one of those games, Tom. I mean, Kansas City did a lot of things right. The Rangers did a lot of things wrong. But the Rangers won the game anyway, 8-7.
Basically, yesterday, Kansas City got trumped by the long ball.
Yeah.
Long ball and Vlad. Vlad knocked in 5. Home runs knocked in 6. Vlad also had a double to knock in a run. And that overcame some problems.
Another fly ball. This off the bat of Ian Kinsler. And the Rangers down in order against Hochevar. Scott Feldman is on the mound. We'll have it for you when we come back on Fox Sports Southwest. Beautiful Kauffman Stadium here in Kansas City. A great day for baseball. The Rangers trying to win once again. They have rolled through the Kansas City Royals this year, going 5-0 to this point. Here's the Royals batting order for Ned Yost, who's only been on the gig for 2 weeks now. But Podsednik, Aviles, and Butler. Guillen, who had 4 strikeouts yesterday. Piaspo and Meyer. Bloomquist, Getz, and Kendall. The Royals are 6-5 for Ned Yost. 18-28 overall, 9 games back in the AL Central. The Rangers start today 3 games up in the West. Scott Feldman to Scott Podsednik, and it's Feldman fielding his position. 1 up, 1 down. We'll scout out Scott Feldman right now, courtesy of Suzuki.
He's had 9 starts as well. His record is reversed from Hochevar. He's 2-4. 50 innings, 66 hits. Opponents are hitting .307 against Scott. He got the win on Thursday, even though he gave up 12 hits. The only pitcher this year to give up 12 hits and win, at least the first one to do it. Only 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. 10 games against the Royals have gone well. Got a good career record, 2-0, 3.27 ERA.
Struggled a bit against him back at home 3 weeks ago, only because that pitch count got fluffed up on him. 100 pitches for Scott to get through 4 innings. Avila socks one towards right. Nelly Cruz will run it down. Other defenders of note, Hamilton and Bourbon with Cruz. And around the horn, we're getting used to this. Young, Andrews, Kinsler, and Smoke. One-time 4th-round pick of these Kansas City Royals, Matt Trainer, catching Scott Feldman. Feldy has not won on the road yet. Last year, that was not a problem. Set a franchise record winning 12 times on the road, but this year 0-3 with an ERA in the mid-8s. It's a very hot hitter right here, Billy Butler. He's been on base 7 of his last 9 trips to the plate. Quietly had 51 doubles a year ago, and he's on pace for that again here in 2010. Jacksonville, Florida native Billy Butler. A 50 doubles, 20 homer season last year. The only players to get that combo at a younger age, well, it's Hank Greenberg, A-Rod, Grady Sizemore, and Miguel Cabrera. That's the whole list.
I think it's an impressive number, 50 doubles. It shows how hard he hits the ball and how many gappers he hits. Because he's not a base clogger, but he's not turning singles into doubles on a regular basis either. Most of the doubles he gets are doubles because they go to the wall.
Yeah, Brian Roberts of the Orioles had 50 doubles last year too, but he legged a lot of those out.
Exactly.
This is going to be a single for Billy Butler. Just kind of plops it down in front of Cruz.
That was a good pitch by Scott. Looked like a cutter, outside corner. Butler hit it right off the end of the bat. So it goes for a base hit, but it also goes as a good solid pitch by Scott. 3-1 pitch, low and away on the outside corner. You hope the batter swings at that pitch, and you hope he hits it off the end of the bat like that. Just can't control where it goes.
The tough night for Guillen last night, striking out 4 times. First couple against Rich Harden. We should give Rich Harden some props for yesterday, just pounding that strike zone all game.
Yeah, he could have had a little bit better luck. There were some bloopers that fell in, some balls that were almost caught. Ron Washington was pleased with the way he threw the ball. I thought he threw the ball well too.
Inside it hit Guillen. The Rangers are leading the American League in hit batsmen.
Guillen does absolutely nothing to get out of the way.
No.
So, and he also doesn't have a pad on his arm. So it's not like he's sticking his elbow out there and hope that you hit his in hopes that you'll hit his pad. He took that right off the elbow. I think he was just kind of set up for not being able to get out of the way by the first pitch, which was a cutter right on the outside corner. Just kind of froze on the fastball.
So a couple of 2-out base runners and a chance for Alberto Callaspo, who's really having a solid year. We talked about him yesterday. His numbers are commensurate with any of the other third basemen you want to talk about for all-star consideration. Breaking ball for a strike. The Royals will probably be a team that sends only one guy to the All-Star game in Anaheim. The Rangers could send multiples. Already have Vlad Guerrero leading at the DH voting. Nelson Cruz right there in outfield.
That's what you want to see right there from Scott. The cutter that jams a good left-hand hitter. That's a good pitch.
No doubt. And with 2 men on, Able to throw that pitch to sneak out of the inning. Scott Feldman and Luke Hochevar are zeros after one. No scores. We go to the second inning. And as summer starts, the Rangers Foundation helping more than 2,300 kids play baseball in the Dallas-Fort Worth community. Help out by going to TexasRangers.com/membership to get involved. Vlad Guerrero owned the night last night. 2 home runs, 5 runs batted in. He also had that mind-bending double on a pitch that seemed to be about a foot inside. Chopping this one to third. More on Vlad a little bit later on. We'll get you to Josh Hamilton next. Josh participated yesterday at one of the 4 home runs. Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. They measured this one, they say anyway, tag at 448. He had every bit of 448.
Yeah, I think it was closer to 468 if you try to anticipate where that ball would hit the ground. I mean, if it's 410 to center field, and if the distance from the pitcher's rubber to home plate is 60 feet, it's hard to imagine that that ball wouldn't have landed 60 feet over the center field wall, which would have been 470.
Yep, Josh is with you. Our Geico quote of the day.
Eric Cooper's looking over and talking to somebody over near the Ranger dugout. But Vladdy wouldn't have been arguing. He swung at both pitches he saw.
Well, Josh Hamilton, since that involuntary day off 9 days ago, all he's done is cream the ball. He's got a 7-game hitting streak, hitting about 420 during that time. That's down too low. What a nice spot for Josh to be in, huh? Right in between Vlad Guerrero and Nelson Cruz. Nelly's a player of the week. Vlad will probably be player of the month. Towards left field. That ball carries near the track. But Sednick with the sunglasses down goes right to the corner to make the play.
Where that ball was hit, it's only 330 feet. Josh didn't miss by much, slicing that right around the foul pole.
4 fly ball outs for Hochevar already. That gives you pause if the Rangers really step into one.
Well, he's more of a ground ball pitcher too, really. His ground ball to fly ball ratio is 15th in the league, which means he gets his share of ground balls. Not today so far. Boy, that's a good cutter he's throwing though at 91 miles an hour. That'll cause hitters problems.
Well, 2 right-handers with real good cut fastballs today up against each other, Hochevar and Feldman. Showing bunt. New look for Nelly. Of course, Josh Hamilton had a sac bunt on that last homestand. That was a brand new thing for him.
If a guy has speed, bunting with 2 outs is a way to get a man on base and then try to steal second. And if you're successful, it's like hitting a double. Nelly has some speed. That is an excellent cutter that he's throwing.
Well, and again, because it's such a mixed bag with Hochevar, sometimes he's on, sometimes he's off. If you happen to get him on a day where that thing is moving like that, it can be tough.
He was on in his last start too. That was a 9-inning complete game victory over Cleveland.
Cruz is on that though, and spoils an early no-hit bid for Hochevar. Cruz, thinking double, is on his way, trotting in there with 2 bases with 2 outs. When since coming off the DL, Nelson Cruz, Tom, is hitting .360.
Well, Hochevar made some good pitches on him with the cutter, and then tried to throw a fastball, and it moved back right to the middle of the plate, and Nelly lined it into right center field for the double. A couple of those other pitches got a lot of the plate, but they were 91-mile-an-hour cutters, and you can get away with a pitch that gets a lot of the plate when it's got that kind of movement and that kind of velocity.
Justin Smoak fires away on the first pitch he sees. Oh, we said it yesterday, 1 through 6 in that Ranger order. It's tough to imagine that you could do better than that. Elvis Andrus is best in the American League in terms of on-base percentage from a leadoff spot. Michael Young is Michael Young. Kinsler's mashing the ball. You've got Vlad Guerrero, who, I mean, right now you could put an MVP talk if you wanted to do that on May 26th. Then you've got Hamilton and Cruz. There is nowhere to hide. Huge secondary lead for Cruz. He was dancing way off the bag at second. The Angels right now, of course, with Hideki Matsui at DH instead of Vlad Guerrero for essentially the same money. And right now Matsui, at last check, 14 for his last 85. Vladdy is 36 for his last 85 and is leading the major leagues in runs batted in. That is right now a swing and a miss for the Angels. They were known actually for being very, very good in their evaluation and their ability to go forward. The Rangers very, very happy that their, I guess, kind of fraternity rush that they put on Vlad Guerrero worked. They convinced him to sign with them.
And John Daniels will say that Ron Washington was a major factor in Vladdy's decision to sign with the Rangers.
Yeah, Wash was rush chairman. Smoak will deposit that one into left center. Nelson Cruz is going to come around. The Rangers with back-to-back two-out hits and leading here in Kansas City 1-0.
A good job by Justin. He waited on the breaking ball. He's been seeing a lot of off-speed pitches, but he waited on that changeup and went the other way with it and drove it sharply over shortstop. And it's nice to see a line drive going near a fielder go by the fielder for an RBI hit against a guy who's throwing the ball really well today. Hochevar has made a couple of mistakes, though, to Cruz and to Smoak through the fastball that was hittable to Nelly, and then the changeup that stayed up a little bit. But Justin had to wait on it to hit it that hard into left field, so good job.
Matt Trainer looping one towards left. And the Rangers settle for 1 on the RBI hit from Justin Smoak. He's actually 2 for his last 3 now after going 1 for 22. Rangers ahead 1-0, and a reminder, kids 13 and under can sign up for the Junior Rangers Club presented by Dr. Pepper. Nice thing to do for your kids while they're off at school today. Shh, don't even tell them that you're doing it. Just surprise them. As a member of the Rangers Kids Fan Club, they get 8 ticket vouchers, access to members-only events, cool drawstring bag, bunch of nice stuff. Go to TexasRangers.com/juniorrangers and get your little Ranger signed up today. Scott Feldman working with a 1-0 lead is going to face Mitch Meyer, Willie Bloomquist, and Chris Getz in the bottom of the second. Into right field. That's 6 hits in the last 3 games for Mitch Meyer. And I'll say this about the Royals, Tom. I mean, at first glance, you look at this lineup, and it strikes you as a bunch of guys who are probably on most teams about the 12th or 13th man on a 9-man rotation. And, you know, one of those guys might get into a game every week. You got a bunch of them in these games for Ned Yost, but all of them can play. All of them come up with a couple base hits, it seems like, every single time.
Yeah, it depends what team you're talking about, but Billy Butler can play for most teams. Callaspo can play for most teams. There's no doubt about that.
You get to that Meyer, Bloomquist, Getz part of the order, and maybe you would have said that about Callaspo before this year too. You don't see them, you know, starting on the Yankees or the Red Sox or anything like that, but they're absolutely players that can still hurt you.
Yeah, they are, but you know, they're still 10 games below 500, and they're pesky. But we talked about them a lot yesterday. They get a lot of singles, they hit for a high average, they're pesky, but they don't get the clincher like the Rangers did yesterday.
Right.
They don't pound the ball out of the ballpark, hit a lot of extra base hits, and so their pitching is near the bottom, if not at the bottom. And the fact that their on-base percentage is middle of the pack and their runs scored is middle of the pack is really a bad combination. But they can put some base runners on. They can hit some singles. And in yesterday's game, they played a good game. They played a good defensive game. They scored enough runs to win most games. The Rangers just had the answer, and the answer was the home run yesterday.
And you're right. I mean, eventually the lack of pop will get you. They haven't had a 100 RBI season from anyone in 7 years. That ball getting away from Trainer. Tying man moves down to second base. Yeah, 2003 tag, they had Carlos Beltran with exactly 100 runs batted in. Emil Brown led them a couple years ago with 68.
And that's a ball that Matt should catch. He knew it was a curveball, which allowed him to anticipate which way it was going to break. And the ball kind of hit off the side of his glove actually before it hit the ground.
1-2 the count to Bloomquist, who had a very strong game yesterday. Going to flick that one into shallow right field. Kinsler going back, makes the catch. Bloomquist had a 10-pitch at bat yesterday that ended up as a triple. Also had a sac bunt, a diving catch in the outfield, and he threw a man out at the plate. Pretty good game for a guy that seldom plays. Well, and for the Royals, Tom, I mean, obviously it's been a while for them to really bunch more than a couple of guys in their lineup that can hit for power. They were last in the league in home runs in 07, second to last in 08, second to last in 09. Nine straight seasons now without a 30 home run hitter. They've never had a 40 home run hitter in their history. Steve Balboni had 36 in their World Series season in 1985. It's the closest they've ever come. This is the 25th anniversary of that World Series year. Jim Sundberg, a big part of that. A 23-year-old Brett Saberhagen.
I'd be surprised if Butler doesn't become that kind of a guy. You know, he's just 24 years old. He hit 21 home runs last year. That's after hitting 8 and then 11 and then 21. And I have to think eventually he'll be a 30 home run guy. He's already a 50 double guy, so he's a good hitter, 300 hitter. And that's a good start. They've got a couple of kids that they've drafted. Mike Moustakas, Eric Hosmer, two of the best young high school hitters in the draft when they were both selected high in the first round. So I think eventually they feel like they'll have those guys in the middle of the lineup. It's just going to take a little bit of patience as they try to develop them. It took the Rangers a while to develop one of the best farm systems in baseball through good scouting. It took Tampa Bay a long time. Look how long Tampa Bay was a team, a doormat with good young talent from the draft, and eventually it all clicked for them. And you know, if that happens for Kansas City on a reasonable timetable, it's still several years down the road.
They haven't been to the playoffs since that World Series win in '85.
I think one thing they've tried to do is remain competitive. It's why they signed Jason Kendall for a veteran presence. It's why they signed Gil Mesh to a pretty solid free agent contract. They want to be competitive while all the other developing goes on. That's a difficult balancing act.
Chop ball second base for Kinsler. Baseball fans, Chevy is a proud sponsor of youth baseball programs throughout the state of Texas. If you'd like to learn more about Chevy's commitment to youth baseball, go to ChevyTexasBaseball.com. Well, here's, I guess, kind of an interesting way to tie all what we're talking about together, Tom. You know, they're trying to go young. They're trying to build for the future. And at first blush, you say, why the heck would they bring in Jason Kendall then? He's 36. But I think when you look a little deeper into it, Kendall represents the scaffolding that you stand on to build back up. You can work with these young pitchers, just kind of give it some ballast while they're doing the building. And John Buck and Miguel Olivo as their catchers last year. Those guys hit a little bit, but defensively they weren't much, and they wanted Kendall for how he plays the game and how he works with that pitching staff. Yesterday, Kendall had the squeeze bunt. Executed that perfectly. He also had the spikes high late slide into Elvis Andrus. The Rangers weren't necessarily thrilled about. Feldman walks him on 4 pitches. Now has to deal with Scott Podsednik. Much better pitch count this time for Feldman. Once through the order, he's at 28. Remember, he did not even make it into the 5th inning against Kansas City 3 weeks ago because of a bloated pitch count. Podsednik, a guy that helped keep the pitch count down when he bunted the first pitch he saw right back to Feldman in the 1st inning. Tough play for Michael Young. Barehanded. Throwing, and it gets away from Justin Smoak. The run scores. And down to 3rd on the play is Kendall.
Podsednik runs so well and gets out of the box quickly. It's going to be a tough play all the way. Michael's playing in about even with the bag, anticipates the ball, catches it barehanded on the run, and has a chance to get him if he can make an accurate throw, but the throw is offline. Smoak can't quite handle it, and Royals end up with a run. When you barehand a ball like that, you hope you get a good grip on it. I don't think Michael was able to get a good grip, and that's kind of hit or miss. You grab it with your hand, you don't have time to position the ball in your fingers to get a good grip, otherwise he's going to be safe. And you just hope you can throw it without a good grip, and I think that's what happened there.
They've got Podsednik picked off. Feldman with an eye back towards home plate. Now they are coming home, and Trainer with the tag. And it's not like Kendall was about to bowl him over.
And for all you people who say that play never works, write that down in your scorebook.
Steve Busby, take a bow. You told us that play sometimes works, and Feldman just got out of the inning with it. It's tied up 1-1.
Rangers, White Sox, Tuesday at 6:30 on Fox Sports Southwest.
Texas Ranger Baseball brought to you today by Geico Insurance, where 15 minutes can save you 15% on car insurance. And by AT&T. See what's new from AT&T. Go to att.com for details. Scott Feldman picking off Scott Podsednik, and then Elvis Andrus throwing home to get Jason Kendall. That's how that 2nd inning ended. Borbona, take it with you bunt, but it spins foul. We'll take you back to that pickoff executed by Feldman and the Rangers.
Well, you're hoping that the guy at first is running, and that he's running on your first movement, and that's exactly what Podsednik did. As Scott faked to 3rd, Podsednik took off. Kendall then went home. Elvis's throw gets him easily at the plate. So 1st and 3rd. You've got Aviles at the plate. Aviles is a pretty hot hitter right now. So to eliminate the 1st and 3rd situation, pretty effective play by Scott.
Borbon will pop one out of play. Julio struck out a couple times yesterday. First time since opening day that he had a 2-strikeout game.
And Julio is still working on his bunting. If he can bunt that ball a little bit more towards second base and Butler fields it, then almost every time he can beat the pitcher to first base.
He's got four bunt base hits, Tag, along with Elvis Andrus. They both got 4.
You have to keep it far enough from the first base line so that the first baseman can't field it and tag you. You have to get by him too.
Now one scoring outside. Bourbon, Andrus, and Young for the Rangers here in the 3rd. The Rangers try to make it 7 wins in their last 9 games. Maybe grow that lead a bit more in the AL West. Everybody running. And a fan ends up with it. Nice glove catch over there.
Fan actually reached into fair territory, into the field to make the catch, but there was no one there to catch it anyway. If it was a little bit higher and someone was underneath the ball, that might have been a situation that had to be decided by the umpire.
Not as much drama as Steve Bartman, however, right there.
Not quite at this stage of the season.
How about Moises Alou 5 years after the fact saying, you know, I wouldn't have caught that ball anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks, Moises.
Where was he when it happened?
Another foul from Bourbon.
Where is Steve Bartman, by the way? Have you read anything about him?
People think he's holed up in Montana still. Everybody's still waiting for the tell-all. Somebody, you know, get out, get that documentary going. I would watch that, boy. That poor guy. You talk about being maligned. He's just sitting there with his headphones. And it becomes a part of history. The Cubs had way more issues than Steve Bartman in that Game 6 in 03. They turn a double play that inning, they probably win that game 3-0. That ball fouled by Bourbon. He's fighting through it here. Going to see an 8th pitch against Luke Kochaver, who again was just fantastic on this mound against the Rangers last summer. 7 innings, 13 strikeouts. The Rangers have been a strikeout team this year, and that has not been the case over the past 10 years or so. The Rangers right now 2nd in the league in the batters struck out. To left field again, and puts Sednick near the line. When you look at some of the strikeouts leaders for the Rangers, the last 3 years anyway, Tom, it's been 123, 2 years. There's been enough strikeouts to lead the team. The other year it was 127. Nolan used to have that by the All-Star break. Rangers go to Minnesota when this game is done. They'll be playing outdoor baseball in Minneapolis for the first time since 1981 this weekend. Ron Washington was in that lineup for the Twins the last time the Rangers played outdoor baseball. That in Bloomington, Minnesota. Batted 9th for the Twins that day. Beautiful new Target Field. We will check that out. In fact, we'll be there in time. If you really want to, Tag, we'll get there in time to see the last little bit of the Yankees-Twins game tonight, probably, and the Yankees and Twins play again tomorrow on the off day.
Yeah. If I catch that tonight, it's going to be in my hotel room.
3-2 the count to Elvis. He flied to right first time up. Called out on strikes by Eric Cooper.
That's some nice pitches. If those pitches are strikes, to come back from a 3-0 count and make those pitches, those are some quality strikes.
Yeah, it says it's in there.
Good pitch.
First strikeout today for Hochevar. And now the man with the 11-game hit streak, Michael Young. Hochevar, the #1 pick out of the University of Tennessee 4 summers ago. His dad was a basketball player, played a year for the Denver Nuggets in the late 70s. And already, Tom, he's done, well, exactly what he did from a longevity standpoint against the Rangers 3 weeks ago. He was out of there after 2 2/3. That will not be the case today. Strike 3, says Mr. Cooper. Michael Young unhappy. Will no longer be hanging with Mr. Cooper here if Michael's not careful. They're getting into it. Gary Pettis steps in between.
That's where the umpire should turn his back and walk away. Michael argues about twice a season. Just turn your back, walk away, and let it go, instead of sticking your nose and trying to make the argument worse.
Ron Washington takes it up from here as we'll take a break. It's tied 1-1, bottom of the 3rd coming up. Towards second, Kinsler, the backhand, look at that to Andrews. Double play. Thank you very
Saturday, June 5th against Tampa Bay. For the first time, Ranger fans 14 and older get a Texas Red t-shirt, compliments of Coca-Cola.
Underway, bottom 3, and Mike Aviles takes a strike. The Rangers had both Andrus and Young called out on strikes in the top of the 3rd. Luke Hochevar's first 2 strikeouts of the game. And Michael Young got into it a bit with the home plate umpire Eric Cooper at the end of that last strike.
Yeah, and my point is not whether it's a ball or a strike. I don't know whether it was a ball or a strike. Even if it is a strike, I think you have to recognize that Michael's one of the most respected guys in the league who very seldom argues a call. And so let him get his 2 cents worth in, turn your back and walk away and just diffuse it instead of walking toward him to try to prolong the argument. Such a ego thing and a macho thing. Just let it go.
And you're right, Michael has that reputation, kind of Cal Ripken Jr.-esque.
Yeah, it could have been a strike. You know, that's not the point to me. It's one thing if you got a volatile guy that argues a call every time he comes to the plate and you're just sick of it and you're not going to take it anymore, but that's not Michael.
Michael usually argues the way that Cal Ripken used to. He told a story on the air about a month ago, I think, about when Cal was called out on strikes and he simply turned around to the umpire and said, "Oh, I highly doubt that." The 3-2 is Pop's foul.
Tough to get kicked out for that.
Cal had that droll way about him. And actually, Eric Cooper had the home plate assignment for Cal Ripken Jr.'s finale in Baltimore, and then hurt his leg 8 pitches into the game. One of the rare times we've seen an umpire taken from the field. Cal was actually at the plate for the first time, and Cooper was on his way to the hospital. It pulled a hamstring muscle. Under the glove of a diving Michael Young, and Mike Aviles on his way to second base. You mentioned it yesterday, Tom, a tough guy to walk. He's only walked once since coming up from AAA at the beginning of the month. Loves to swing the bat, and this time leads off with a double.
Oh, that's a pitch. You can see Trainer's glove. He's trying to throw it down and away. It ends up down and in. So that missed his target area by the length of the width of the plate. And so what maybe would have been a ball off the end of the bat turns into a rope to left field, allowed him to pull it and end up with a double.
A little bit of a concern now. 6 of the last 9 Royals have reached against Feldman. And the dangerous Billy Butler on base 8 of his last 10 trips to the plate now. 3rd best batting average in the league. Tough to run the table against a team in the big leagues, but the Rangers attempting to do that, trying to start out 6-0 against KC. Another one-run win for the Rangers yesterday. That's 19 one-run games they've been involved in now this year out of 47 games. Seven of the last 8 have been decided by one run, and thankfully most of those in the win column. That means a lot of time to shine for Neftali Feliz. He knocked down another save yesterday, number 13 to lead the league. You know, we forget sometimes. I guess maybe we got to keep bringing it up, Tag. Neffy does qualify as Rookie of the Year this year. He is a rookie.
That's right. And a young closer won it last year. Andrew Bailey won it for Oakland.
Exactamundo.
And the Rangers early in the season have been winning. There's been close games, so there's been a lot of opportunities for the closer.
That is a neat thing to talk about. Of course, Justin Smoke qualifies as a rookie as well, and he's done a couple things. He's leading AL rookies in home runs and walks. But Neftali Feliz with 13 saves to lead the majors, or excuse me, lead the American League anyway. That's pretty impressive. Three and 2 the count to Butler. Flick towards second, and Kinsler will go out to the grass to glove it. That go-ahead run moves to third.
You'd love to get Butler, even if he does move the runner behind an account. Scott comes in with something other than a fastball. Good pitch. And Butler does a nice job. You're going to make it out. That's a pretty effective out with a man on second and nobody out.
You know what we're going to have when the Royals play the Pirates this year? Butler against Duke. when Zach Duke is on the mound.
Good point.
Thank you.
You think Duke will win again?
On a last-second miss by Billy Butler from half court. Feldman takes outside. I bring that up not just to be stupid, but although that's a nice byproduct. The Royals are going to be cast as the underdog, no matter what they do, just to kind of go all Butler Bulldogs on you. All they can do is take the field every game and execute. Now for Ned Yost. Trey Hillman, unfortunately, was given the pink slip literally a day after he got that dreaded vote of confidence from his GM.
Well, I think Trey's a good manager. I think Ned Yost is a good manager. But the reality probably is if Ned Yost got the job the same day that Trey Hillman got the job, he might have been facing the same fate right around now that Trey Hillman was. That's baseball. That's just the way it is. Doesn't mean either one of them is a bad manager. They both have great baseball instincts.
Ned had success with the Brewers, managing up there before he got deposed. Dale Swaim took over, and then Ken Maka. Mike Maddox was his pitching coach. And now, of course, the Rangers have Mad Dog in their employ. A fly ball off the bat of Guillen. And Bourbon fading back on it. He'll make that catch, but that's plenty deep. Sac fly RBI. And Kansas City's on top 2-1. "32nd RBI this year for Jose Guillen. A much more productive afternoon than he had last night when he struck out 4 times.
He struck out 4 times. Then he had a really good at bat against Feliz in the 9th inning to work a walk. And if he was ever going to strike out in that game, that probably would have been the at bat. Feliz was throwing 100 miles an hour, but
he just wasn't going to take that 5.
He went up there determined and had a great at bat and ended up earning a walk. It didn't really salvage his night. He was still 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, but it was a great at bat. Good at bat. I guess it wasn't great.
These are subjective terms.
Yeah. At least I use great maybe a little too often. It's not really great.
That was a great play by Smoke, too, to get the Rangers out of the inning. 2-1 Kansas City. Michael Young during this 11-game hit streak, hitting .422 20 times now. He's had a double-digit hit streak, which leads us to ponder who's got the major league record for most hit streaks of 10 or more games. That's since 1952. That's our AT&T trivia question. Kansas City had a player who's got to be high up on that list. That's George Brett. MVP in 1980 despite missing 45 games. That's pretty incredible. Hit .390. Kinsler towards second base. And a chance for us now, Tom, to talk a little bit more in depth about Vlad Guerrero, as we promised at the top of the broadcast. Vladdy with the 2 homers yesterday and the double. And, you know, it just time and time again, we've seen this before as a member of the opposition, but you try to pitch him inside, and it seems like a good plan. Vlad just finds a way not only to put that ball in play, but to smoke it.
Well, the thing with Vlad is, in any good hitter, you can pitch him a certain way, and he's been pitched in before with success, but if he's looking in there or reacts to it, it's not going to do you any good.
Home run against Josh Roop back in Arlington on the left. The double yesterday. Again on a pitch way inside. And now back live. He's going to chop one to third. Teoscar makes a play on him. Vladdy's 0 for 2 today.
Once you make him aware that that might be what you're thinking about, and you try it time after time, it's not going to be successful with a great hitter.
He's got those strong arms and strong wrists that he says come from bringing in the cattle as a kid. He's told reporters, hey, bulls are stubborn. You have to push them into doing what they're supposed to do. And that's how he says he got those strong forearms.
But still, I think just about everybody that saw that double last night said it doesn't really matter if you're looking for a pitch in. That means like a pitch that's somewhere around a strike. That pitch was so far from being a strike. Virtually no hitter would even swing at that pitch, let alone hit it hard for a double.
Well, all the Ranger players were marveling at that. Even last night's home plate umpire Mike Riley apparently was kind of quizzing guys as they came to the plate. Can you believe that?
Well, I think the pitcher felt the same way. Ned Yost felt the same way. You just don't expect that pitch, number one, to be swung at. Usually the guy's jumping out of the way to avoid being hit by the pitch. He not only swung at it, he hit it hard off the good part of the bat.
Hamilton chasing. That is 7 straight retired by Hochevar. He holds a 2-1 lead here in the 4th. (2-1) Kansas City today. Another close ball game. What else is new? Mitch Meyer at the plate. Singled and scored in the 2nd inning. Scott Feldman still looking for his first win on the road here in 2010 after knocking down a dozen of those a year ago. On his way to 17 wins overall. Dialed it down right there. Good change of pace.
Scott doesn't throw a lot of changeups, but if he can repeat that pitch, he'll have some success with it and want to throw it more often. Fastball count got Meyer to take a big swing at a changeup.
Meyer was out of the gate quickly in 08 as a 26-year-old rookie. Then he got nailed in the face by a fastball. Cleveland's Zach Jackson got him, and even though he was on the field again 3 weeks later, wasn't quite the same player the rest of that summer. Two balls, 2 strikes to count to him. Off speed, bounce to first. That's 2 straight plays made by Justin Smoke over there. Back to our trivia question. Major League record over the last 58 years for most hit streaks of 10 games or more. Michael Young's got some work to do. The hammer. Great trivia question, I think, Tom. Who scored more runs, Hank Aaron or Babe Ruth? It was a tie. They each had exactly 2,714.
Wow.
Of course, Ruth and Aaron in the 70s were linked. And Hank Aaron chasing down the then home run record. Chop to third. Michael Young's got it in on the grass. And no problem. Two up, two down.
Scott's thrown a lot of good off-speed pitches. We saw the changeup that he fooled Meyer with. Last 2 outs have been made on curveballs. He's had a pretty good curveball today. Still, it doesn't quite have the command of his cutter to the left-hand hitters. Most of the cutters that he's thrown to the left-hand hitters are inside. He's thrown some good ones. Got Callaspo with one to end the first inning. Hasn't quite pinpointed it where he wants it consistently yet.
Opens with a strike to Chris Getz.
Well, looks like he's throwing the ball well today. There's the cutter inside. That's where most of them have been. Which isn't bad. It can set up other pitches. Could it set up your sinker away or your backdoor curveball that he's throwing?
Another chopper, this one foul. And, you know, here he is right about to get through 4 innings, Tom. He's at 59 pitches. Last time 4 innings against Kansas City, he was at 100.
It's a different game here today for Hochevar. Same thing for Scott.
Little fly ball beyond Elvis Andrus, but he'll go back and grab it.
And another out with his curveball.
40 fewer pitches to get through 4 innings than last time when he faced Kansas City. Nelly Cruz coming on in to hit.
It's time.
Vlad Guerrero doing it one more time. Ball game. Hamilton cranks it right field. There she goes.
It's time.
Kids get an Ian Kinsler Red Rangers jersey Sunday, June 6th against the Rays. Buy tickets at TexasRangers.com.
Texas Ranger Baseball being brought to you by the U.S. Army. There's strong, then there's Army strong. By your Texas Chevy dealers, proud sponsor of Texas Baseball. And by the Karate Kid, starring Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. In theaters June 11th. You and I should go and find a couple of kids and take them to see that movie at some point. Tag, be a nice thing to do.
Okay.
You know, just in our spare time.
Sure. You got it.
All right. Nelson Cruz is going to take outside.
You can find 2 kids who want to go to the movies with us. More power to you.
I know.
I might be able to
one.
get my grandkids.
I was going to say, I know Kobe is waiting for that movie to come out. Also wants to see McGruber. Nelson Cruz lines to left. He continues to hit the ball hard, but now is 1 for 2. Justin Smoke had suffered through that 1 for 23. And through it all, didn't really seem like he was overmatched or anything. It was just one of those slumps. Got a solid base hit yesterday. He's got an RBI hit today. Maybe his fortunes will start to turn. And Justin's ready for that. The batting average had dropped down to 168 coming in it today.
And he's right at 100 at bats. He's got 102 at bats. So that's kind of a good gauge. Get your feet wet. He's gotten the experience. He's seen a lot of different pitchers. Still hasn't been all the way around the league to see all the pitchers. So most of these guys he's seeing for the first time.
Chop ball, backing up on it is Butler. Hochevar, a long run to get to the bag, but he's there. Well, the Rangers may be fortunate to get Hochevar when they got him for those back-to-back hits in the second since then. It's been 9 up, 9 down.
Well, if you're going to have only 2 hits through 4 2/3, it is good that one of them was a double and that they came back-to-back.
Got one final already in from today in baseball. The White Sox beat the Indians 5-4.
What time did that game start?
It's like Wimbledon starting time, apparently. Well, Mark Burley pitched that game, so it moves quickly. Burley, it says here, was ejected, and so was Ozzie Guillen. Can't imagine Ozzie getting upset about anything. Towards short, and the backhand pickup by Aviles. Matt Trainer is out by a step. It stays 2-1 Kansas City. Kansas City today, and a reminder, Saturday, June the 5th, that is now a 3:10 in the afternoon game with the AL East leading Tampa Bay Rays coming in. And the first 20,000 fans 14 and older get a red Texas Ranger t-shirt courtesy of Coca-Cola. Buy in advance. Tickets are going fast. You might want to call right now, 972 Rangers, or go online at texasrangers.com. Vlad Guerrero, a couple of groundouts today, but continues to dazzle just by his mere presence. You know, as a kid, we got this from Vladimir's mom when he was talking to the media back in Anaheim. His mom said that Vladdy wanted to be not a ball player growing up. He wanted to be a singer and a dancer. Tag. All the Guerrero kids would put on shows for the family. They would essentially be the Dominican Osmonds. And Vlad soon realized, you know, while he had fun doing that, had a talent for that, the baseball thing was going to really get him out of the Dominican and making some money.
It's like he was right.
And he is so passionate about that family that he hasn't really left behind. A lot of that family comes with him. 25 family members last year with him in Anaheim during the course of the season. And his mom, Altagracia, is a very popular player, or person with the players, because she cooks for the players all the time. And Vladdy's got a family business too. It's Los Hermanos Guerrero, the Guerrero brothers, providing all kinds of opportunities in his little hometown. About 12,000 people in his hometown. And that family business tag, they've got a cement factory, they've got a seafood distributorship.
Wow.
They got a vegetable farm, they got a women's clothing store, a supermarket, and a propane distributorship. If that's not Texan, I don't know what is. Feldman makes the play. Vlad Guerrero is the Hank Hill of Don Gregorio, Dominican Republic.
7 straight retired by Feldman, who's throwing the ball well right now. He's having probably his best curveball today.
Got that leadoff double by Mike Aviles in the third. Kind of coming back to bite him. He's pitched well since then. Strike one to Podsednik.
A little bit better command with his pitches today, too. Even though he gave up 12 hits in his last start, he still battled through it. Got a win through 6 innings.
Feldman again. This time spins around and takes care of Podsednik.
And that was a good cutter. That jammed Podsednik. Scott had to use some of his athletic ability to make that play. A little smile on his face. But he gets this ball in on the fist and jammed him. Had to twist around to get it. Didn't look pretty, but it's an out.
Does Bodie have a sit and spin? You remember the sit and spin? That's what it looked like he was on right there.
Yeah, it did. So two straight balls back to Scott that he's handled.
Now it brings up Mike Aviles. And he fouls it back. Not caught by Eric Nadel this time. He got one cleanly yesterday in that radio broadcast booth. Paints it on the corner. Strike two.
Good cutter right there. Hochevar's had a good cutter today too.
The Hochevar's retired 10 straight. It's been 8 straight for Feldman. All of which gives us yet another one-run game involving the Texas Rangers. Unbelievable how many of these things we've seen. Breaking ball fouled. Got some cloud cover now, and the lights are not on, so it's a little darker look at the stadium for a moment. Feldman has another one back to his body. 3 times this inning he had to field his position, and that one kind of found him. But he appears to be okay. 3 1-3s in your scorebook in that 5th inning.
Game updates, keep up with the team, and connect to fans just like you. Home teams all the time. Fox Sports Southwest. Rangers, White Sox, Tuesday at 6:30 on Fox Sports Southwest.
Time for the Sonic Slam inning, brought to you by Sonic. The jackpot worth $1,200. Dinner for 2 at Sonic. The Rangers hitting for Lynn Kilgore of North Richland Hills. If the Rangers hit a grand slam, we're giving away $25,000. Borbone showing bunt takes a high strike. Luke Hochevar, 10 straight Rangers retired. This after the Rangers scored 8 runs yesterday.
Now here's what you'd like to get Borbone on the base in a 1-run game, lead off an inning with his speed. Not going to happen though.
Nope. 11 in a row set down by Hochevar. Last base runner from either team. Aviles with the leadoff double in the 3rd.
It's just what you see in baseball. There's such a difference from one game to the next. The Rangers hit 4 home runs last night, scored 8 runs. But today you're facing Hochevar, who's just not making the same mistakes that Gil Mesh made in the game yesterday. He's keeping his fastball where he wants it.
Nicely done. Andrus just kind of carves it out into right.
He's had a good assortment of other pitches too, especially his cutter. He's just been tough to hit today. The Rangers saw the same pitches in last night's game. There's a good chance they wouldn't have had 4 home runs and 8 runs.
Yeah. Momentum is the next day's starting pitcher. Folks, you can cast your Scott's All-Star ballot at Lowe's. Enter to win a VIP All-Star experience in Anaheim. Compliments of Scott's. A lot of Rangers are riding high in the voting right now. Nelly Cruz among the top 3 outfielders, with Josh Hamilton close behind at number 4. Michael Young, a 6-time All-Star. Doesn't look like Elvis will ever unseat his hero Derek Jeter in the popular vote. Because, come on, it's Derek Jeter, but got to take a second shortstop. And Elvis is having an all-star caliber year. With his next stolen base, he will tie Juan Pierre for most in the American League. Ball and a strike to Michael, who's 0 for 2. Having gone 3 for 3 with a home run in the past against Hochevar.
Hochevar's a tough guy to pull the ball against. So with Elvis at first and the first baseman holding him on, Michael does have a good hole to shoot for right there. We have 1st and 3rd if he can line one through the hole. the way Hochevar's throwing, making the ball sink, cutting it away to the right-hand hitters, it's probably not a good plan of attack to think about pulling the ball. Do what Elvis did, just try to go back through the middle toward right center field with the ball. That's what Michael does anyway.
It's an approach that doesn't work for everybody, I guess, but boy, it sure does work for Michael, and it has to the tune of 1,700 plus career base hits. Elvis is going. Young does hit it to right center field. That ball heading to the alley, and it gets down. 12-game hitting streak for Michael Young. It's going to tie the game. He's thinking triple. Stormtrooping his way to third base. He is in there just ahead of the throw.
What a beautiful play. Love watching a triple. Michael just barely beat a real accurate relay throw. But both Elvis and Michael with a good plan right there, not to try to pull the ball. Michael's going to go the other way, gets a pitch on the inside part of the plate this time, and drives it past Meyer, past Bloomquist. Elvis got deked there for a second, didn't know where the ball was, but picked it up in time. Michael makes up his mind right there to go for third, and just barely gets in ahead of the throw. Nice play.
And he has tied Ruben Sierra, Tom. He's got the most triples now in Texas Ranger history, tied with Ruben. Infield is in for Ian Kinsler. Over to third, close play. Michael Young getting back. And then Kayaspo navigates his way around Young to make that play on Kinsler, who cannot get the runner home from third. That was dangerously close to a double play.
That pitch fooled Ian a little bit. He reached for it and was out in front of it.
All right, now with Vlad Guerrero coming up, Ned Yost is heading out there. I think they want to devise a little strategy. Do you throw anything close to Vlad Guerrero? Josh Hamilton is on deck, and he's a lefty versus a righty. This is righty-righty. You'd think you'd have the percentages match up just going straight on against Vlad, but Vlad does lead the majors in runs batted in. As you check the forward leaderboard. 5 of those 42 last night.
Well, the problem you have with Guerrero that you don't have with other hitters, he's tough to pitch around. I don't think it's a good thing for a manager to go out and tell his pitcher, look, don't walk him on purpose, just don't throw him a good pitch to hit. With a lot of guys, that's fine because they won't swing at it. With Vlad, you already saw last night what he can do. So if you don't want to pitch to him, just walk him. The problem with that is you got Josh coming up next. Well, he got away with one.
It sure did. Vladdy is now grounded out 3 times. The Rangers do tie the game before they had a great chance with Michael Young at third and only 1 out. They couldn't take the lead, but it's now 2-2.
We scream for ice cream. We were just wondering if this was ice cream because we want to start screaming.
You know what I mean? It's frosty, so it's not ice cream. Okay. So we'll do something else.
We'll do
pick some other thing to do.
What's like a scream? We'll all moan for ice cream like products.
Real ice cream. Sonic's got it, others don't. Grab a real ice cream shake today and get another one free on the spot or on your next visit. It's rich, it's creamy, it's Sonic.
The dream is still alive. Someday it will come true. And this country, it belongs to folks like me and you. So let the voice of freedom sing out through this land. This is our country.
Building what's important for more than 90 years with a powertrain backed for 100,000 miles. Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting full-size pickups on the road.
Elvis Andrus deep in the hole is going to spin and fire. Here comes Bourbon diving, and he got it.
Wednesday, June 9th against the Mariners is Dollar Hot Dog Night and Autograph Wednesday presented by Dr. Pepper.
It's time.
Texas Ranger Baseball being brought to you by Quikrete. And by Yokohama. Technology drives better tires. Scott Feldman has allowed only 2 runs on 4 hits. Same can be said for Luke Hochevar. Another nip and tuck ball game involving the Texas Rangers, and Feldman's going to have to deal with Billy Butler here to start the 6th.
Well, the Rangers' formula has been to make their hits back to back and make sure one of them's an extra base hit. They've done it twice for 2 runs. Missed a great opportunity there to get the 3rd one, though. Man on 3rd base and only 1 out.
Feldman starts Butler with a breaking ball. Billy Butler, the 3rd leading hitter in the AL.
I want to thank Dave Robertson for the drinks that he sent up. Chocolate chip cookies yesterday. Compliments of Sheridan's frozen custard here in the concourse.
Just had a sip of one of those smoothies.
How was it?
Real good. Real good. Strike from Feldman, 2-1. Rangers head to Minnesota when this one is over. Butler tees off, drives it to left. There it goes. Butler towards the fountains to make it 3-2.
Well, Butler's hot, and Butler's a good hitter. Came into the game hitting .344. He's had 2 hits today. Pitch looked like it was on the inside part of the plate, and Butler shows you pretty good reason why eventually his homer total is going to rise. That's only the 5th of the year, but he hit a pitch slightly off the inside corner, and there was no doubt about that one.
I think you're exactly right, Tom. Last year, 20 homers, 50 doubles, but there's no reason that as he just gets stronger and stronger, that doesn't get to kind of 35 of each at some point. He had a 2-1 pitch, 403 feet, we're told, to make it 3-2 Kansas City. And now you're really kicking yourself for not getting Michael Young home in the top of the inning. Guillen chasing a breaking ball. Guillen was hit by a pitch not wearing an elbow pad back in the 1st. He is now wearing an elbow pad. This ball slapped over to the right side and foul. We mentioned the Rangers going to Minnesota. A 3-game weekend series. They're going to have tonight off. They're going to have tomorrow night off. We mentioned the Yankees are in town playing the Twins both tonight and tomorrow night. Did that hit him again? It did. This time on a 2-2 count. Just kind of grazed him. That's twice Guillen's been hit by a pitch.
Well, the hitter's not too pleased getting hit twice in a game, but he doesn't do a whole lot to get out of the way, to be honest with you.
Same thing in the 1st inning.
And in this kind of a game, a close game, the last thing Scott's going to do is try to hit somebody with a pitch with nobody out in a 1-run game. But when you get drilled, you don't think of those things. You just think that hurts and you don't like it. But it wasn't an impossible pitch to get out of the way of either.
Alberto Callaspo has grounded out twice. He'll take a strike. The Royals, of course, are the Rangers' spring training partner. They share that beautiful complex down in Surprise, Arizona. Well, the decade could not end fast enough for Kansas City. They had the losingest record of any franchise in baseball in the last 10 years. So look at Darren O'Day getting ready. Kansas City during the aughts, only 662 wins, or an average of 66 a year. They finished 280 games back collectively. How bad did it get for them last year? Well, in one game they hit into 6 double plays in a row. 6 double plays, 6 innings. That was against Cleveland. High fly ball. And Bourbon will settle under it. First out of the 6th inning. Now the Rangers getting away with some real nice weather here in Kansas City. This is one of those unusual weeks in between where they say hot enough for you and cold enough for you, where no one really has anything of value to say about the weather. It's just just nice. And I guess, Tag, we're looking for the same thing up in Minneapolis too.
Yeah, it's supposed to be real nice up there.
Down near first and foul off the bat of Meyer. Check the upcoming schedule, and again, if you want to be industrious, Mr. Grieve, you go to the Twins game tonight just as a spectator on the Wednesday. Same tomorrow. We got to work on Friday, but then network on Saturday and network on Sunday. You could go to 5 Twins games and only work one of them if you really wanted to.
There's not a real good chance that that's going to happen, but I know the opportunities there. Thanks for pointing it out.
No problem. That ball drilled into right. On the move is Guillen towards third. It's going to be runners at the corners now. Willie Bloomquist coming up. That one just had a lot of the plate.
Well, Meyer doesn't hit for much power, but he puts the bat on the ball. Say that for him. Take a walk. Good contact guy.
Yeah, kind of representative of what Kansas City has top to bottom. A lot of singles and doubles, a lot of contact, not a lot of walks. Mike Maddox out to discuss. By the way, it's going to be Colby Lewis on Friday in Minnesota, taking on Kevin Slowey. Saturday, C.J. Wilson will get the call. Rangers looking for some more mileage out of their starters, trying to save the bullpen a little bit. Been a lot of talk about that. 5 of the top 10 in the American League in terms of appearances out of the bullpen are Texas Rangers. And the fake to third actually did result in a pickoff earlier today for Feldman, not this time.
Yeah, that was a big play too. Man on first and third. You don't know what would have happened after that. It was the last out of the inning, but rather than find out, that ended the inning.
Breaking ball bouncing away from Trainer, and now forget about a double play. Meyer advances on the wild pitch. Infield comes in now for the Rangers, trying to cut down that 4th potential run. A fly ball instead of a ground ball. Josh Hamilton will step and fire. Too late. 4-2. Now Guillen getting hit by the pitch. ends up costing Scott Feldman. A sac fly RBI for Bloomquist. Meyer was holding at second.
Yeah, Meyer had to wait because the throw was not going to get the guy at the plate, but Michael was able to cut it off, and if he went to third, might have had a play on him. He stays in scoring position rather than making the third out of the inning at third base.
The Rangers will have Hamilton and Cruz to start things up in the 7th. Luke Hochevar certainly is going to be able to keep on going. He's thrown only 74 pitches.
The Rangers have had 4 hits. Hochevar hasn't walked anybody in the game.
Now, last time he faced the Rangers, he walked, what, 4 2 2/3.
That's why when you're not getting many opportunities, the Rangers have had 2 opportunities. And in one of the opportunities, they ended up leaving a man on third base with 1 out. Didn't get that third run in.
Bouncing ball, and Smoke has got it. Feeding it to Feldman. The Rangers are off the field, but trailing now. Hochevar is pitching with a 4-2 lead.
Oklahoma City, the top 2 teams from the Big 12 go head-to-head in the Big 12 Baseball Championship on Fox Sports Southwest. Lunch with the Rangers, Thursday on Fox Sports Southwest.
4-2 ball game, and now your Cabot Woodstein legendary performance, who was on this date in 1959, the famous Harvey Haddock's perfect game for 12, only to lose 1-0 in 13. The Braves third baseman Don Hoke opened the 13th with a throwing error. Hank Aaron got an intentional walk, then Joe Adcock hit a home run to end it, but he passed Hank Aaron on the bases, so it went down as a double instead of a home run. 1-0 the final. Look out, bat goes flying out of the hands of Josh Hamilton. The final line score in that game that we're talking about, by the way, Tag, Pittsburgh against Milwaukee. Pittsburgh was 0 runs, 12 hits. Milwaukee was 1 run on 1 hit. The winner was Lou Burdett with a complete game 12-hit shutout. Hamilton now hanging on to the bat and clubs one into center.
He fooled him so much on the first pitch that Josh lost the bat. So he came back with the same pitch, another 70-mile-an-hour slow curveball. Only this one didn't fool him, and he just ripped it back through the middle.
Now with that, the tying man comes to the plate. It's Nelson Cruz.
A lot of times you'll see a pitcher go back-to-back lower pitches like that, curveballs or changeup, and have success, but that time Josh waited on the second one.
I got to put in the call here for Nelson Cruz.
All right. Good timing for it.
1 out of 2 so far. He's hit the ball hard both times. We'll check and take a strike. .34 runs batted in despite missing 2.5, almost 3 weeks. Down 0-2.
Well, Hochevar has thrown that pitch a lot today, and he's had good success with it. When he keeps the cutter down and away from the right-hand hitters, they haven't done much with it. I don't think any of the Rangers' hits have come on his cutter. That was a curveball. The other ones have been fastballs. Smoke hit an off-speed pitch.
Nelson's going to loop it to short. Got it right off the end of the bat. Didn't really drive it. Brings up Justin Smoke.
Oh, it's good location with that pitch. Nelly hung in there pretty well. Made some decent contact with it. All right, I'll make the call here. Go back to back.
All right.
Get lucky.
Justin is
1 out of 2.
That'd be nice. Justin is leading the American League among rookies for home runs. Actually tied with Brennan Bosch now of Detroit. He's got 4 as well. The Rangers have used Smoke and Davis, the 2 young first basemen this year. Only 12 runs batted in between them. Lowest total of any major league first base position. But obviously the upside for both of those guys you love. Still getting their feet wet. Chop ball first base. Butler gets the 1 out. Josh Hamilton going in. It'll be up to Matt Trainer. And a reminder, folks, Fridays at Rangers Ballpark, those are fantastic fireworks Fridays. Friday, June the 4th, you can get $10 tickets, $5 parking to see the Rangers and the Rays, presented by 105.3 FM The Fan. Post-game fireworks, and you can get all this done at TexasRangers.com. Enter fireworks as the coupon code. Trainer had an infield hit yesterday and his 2nd career stolen base. Of course, you might know his wife is Misty May Trainer on that AVP volleyball tour. Luke Hochevar's sister is on that same tour. His sister is Brittany, former All-American volleyball player, I believe, at Long Beach. So she and Matt's wife know each other very well. Breaking ball got him. Rangers had the leadoff base hit but could not score. We are at the stretch in Kansas City, and the Royals lead 4-2.
There's no better way to get the inside track on the Texas Rangers. Join Fox Sports Southwest and go behind the scenes and get up close and personal with your favorite players. Rangers Insider, Thursday on Fox Sports Southwest.
Texas Ranger Baseball brought to you by the Ford F-150. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag. It's on. Royals fans hanging out, their team on top today 4-2. They're only 18-28 this year, 9 games back in the Central. The Rangers 3 games up in the West right now at 26-20. They've won 6 out of 8, but they're trailing this one. Luke Hochevar and Scott Feldman, nice little pitching matchup today, Tag, but Hochevar's winning out for now.
Yep, he's pitching a good ball game. Scott's throwing the ball pretty well himself.
Again, Hochevar on this mound last year shut the Rangers down. 7 innings, 13 strikeouts. Not quite that kind of a flourish today. Not striking as many guys out, but getting the job done. That ball eats up Jason Kendall.
That took a bite out of his thumbs right there.
And Kendall, who almost took a bite out of Elvis Andrus yesterday with that hard takeout slide. There's a little revenge.
And that's what you love to see from Scott, the movement on his sinker that rides it in on the hands of the right-hand hitter.
Inside on Vladimir Guerrero like that, he doubles into the corner. Mere mortals just ground out to the left side.
And go ice their thumbs.
Here is Scott Podsednik. Breaking ball, strike 1. Now it's a solid for Scott Feldman today, making sure the bullpen doesn't have to go to work until at least the 7th inning. Another breaking ball, another strike.
He's had a good curveball today. I think he's had a better 2-seam fastball. Thrown some good cutters. the game could have gone a little better. Michael had a chance on Posednik's little ground ball in the second inning. It was a tough play. Now, I don't think he had a good grip on the ball, but if he does get a good grip and makes that play, that's a run that is prevented. There were 2 outs when that happened. Another run was the hit by pitch that wasn't that far inside to Guillen, really. Guillen just froze on it, took it in the arm, and he ended up scoring as well.
Turning on that one, long run for Nelson Cruz, and he's got it. Boy, he had him played way over into the alley and hunted it down for out number 2.
And Scott has been also struggling on the road this year. His road ERA is 4 runs higher than it is at home, so this is a good step in the right direction, even though it's going to be 4 runs given up at least. He still had good stuff today, threw the ball well, and this is a start that he can build on for his next start.
Ball goes one way, the bat goes the other way for Aviles. Yeah, again, considering the last time against Kansas City, he didn't even see the 5th inning. He was very close to getting through the 7th inning now. Line drive, base hit for Aviles. He's a fun guy to watch. He's got that very exaggerated bat wiggle, usually 2 or 3 times before he steps into it. And the ball does seem to jump off his bat.
Aviles is a guy 2 years ago who had a pretty good year for Kansas City. He hit .325 and 419 at bats. Then last year he only hit .180, but he needed Tommy John surgery on his elbow. And since he's come back from that, got a chance to be in the big leagues. He's hitting about .340 right now.
Feldman can't quite get through 7 with Billy Butler coming up, and Butler having homered off Feldman last inning. Ron Washington will pat him on the back and say, let's turn it over. Get the bullpen involved. Chris Ray coming in. It's 4-2 Kansas City. Your Land Rover extraordinary play of the game with Billy Butler just about to come up. We'll flash back and show you what he did last inning. The only home run of the game so far, his 5th of the year. Kansas City leading 4-2, trying to avoid 0-6 as their record against the Rangers here in 2010. Butler's going to face Chris Ray. Feldman goes 6 2/3 today, gives up the 4 runs on 7 hits.
Good numbers for Chris. Pitched in a lot of games. This will be number 25. Solid ERA. Excellent opponent's batting average, only .171. Been throwing the ball hard. Good movement on his sinker. Hard slider.
94 to start out Butler.
Right where you want it, too. Right on the outside corner. Butler's home run in the 6th inning in his last at bat was a fastball in that he really turned on.
Checks his swing, takes strike 2.
2 tough pitches right there. A sinker on the corner, slider on the corner, and they are both on the corner too. Butler didn't like the calls, but according to our tracker, they were strikes.
So the Rangers will have 9-1-2 coming up in the 8th. There's been no action at all in that Kansas City bullpen. The bullpen has been a weak link for Kansas City this year. They're thinking a full 8, if not a full 9 from Hochevar today. Gotta be. He's at 86 pitches. They've had a very good closer in Joakim Soria, although the Rangers got him a couple times back in Arlington.
Hey, you don't see in the big leagues today many pitchers with back-to-back complete games. Hochevar has a shot at that today.
Talking to some of the Kansas City people, Tom, when Ned Yost took over, one of the things that he said was that, look, if we're going to go forward and build on what we've got with what we've got, Luke Hochevar's got to step up. I mean, we're looking for him to be an innings guy, be a big winner here. kind of, I don't know if he meant to call him out or anything, but he's responded.
Well, that's not a bad idea because that's true. Hochevar was their high pick in the draft. Excellent stuff, good arm. It's true. If they're going to be good, he's got to be part of it.
They've got the reigning Cy Young and Zach Greinke. They've got Gil Mesh, who they paid a lot of money for.
And the bullpen is not their strength. So when you've got a guy like Hochevar, he needs to go out there and give him innings.
In on the hands of Butler. Andrews slobs it across to end the inning. Now the Rangers need to go to work as we hit the 8th in Kansas City, 4-2.
Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Does Charlie Daniels play a mean fiddle?
That's how you do it, son.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Towards second, Kinsler, the backhand, looking at to Andrews. Double play. Thank you very
We've got big series coming up against the Rays, Astros, and Pirates. Buy advance tickets now at TexasRangers.com.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Texas Rangers Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Texas Rangers Baseball Club.
Julio Bourbon to lead things off in the top of the 8th. The Rangers down 4-2. And a strike taken. Luke Hochevar has emerged as a big story here today. Trying to get to 5-2 for a team that has only won 18 games. Now, some of the Ranger big hitters have been held in check by Hochevar today. Kinsler 0 for 3. Vlad Guerrero 0 for 3 with 3 groundouts. Chopper near first, backing up his Butler. And Bourbon might beat this. Very close.
That was close. Hochevar just did get there. Good play by Butler and Hochevar to get him. Chopped that curveball. Butler had to back up to catch it. You see Hochevar on the dead run. Boy, that's about as close as you can get and be out.
Andrews did single and score in the 6th. Kind of surprised this isn't a 1-run game right now, Tag, either way.
Probably will be in a while. One way or the other.
High fly ball towards center. The Royals do have Blake Wood warming up in the bullpen, but it sure doesn't look like they're going to need him right now unless the Rangers get going right here with Young and Kinsler. Chevy is a proud sponsor of youth baseball programs throughout the state of Texas. If you'd like to learn more about Chevy's commitment to youth league baseball, go to ChevyTexasBaseball.com. Young had the RBI triple in the 6th inning, running his hit streak to 12. He's the one guy that has really taken some good swings against Hochevar this year. Looking to do it again. He's going to drop it down in front of the right fielder, Bloomquist.
Well, that's what you want. You want a base runner so that one swing of the bat. The Rangers are pretty good at that, can tie the ball game. And you got obviously guys coming up that can do that. Michael with his 2nd hit in a row drops one into right field, and with 2 outs, the Rangers have a chance with one swing of the bat to tie the game. Ian was up in the 6th inning after Michael had tripled with 1 out, grounded out to 3rd. Hochevar hasn't walked a batter today. Walks about 4 per 9 innings for the season, but none of them today. He's had good stuff, good command with it as well. Good cutter. He keeps that 91-mile-an-hour pitch on the outside corner for the most part. Been probably his best pitch today.
Chance to tie the game with one swing right here. And for you Ian Kinsler fans, Sunday, June 6th, the Rangers and the Rays. First 8,500 fans, 13 and under, get the red Ian Kinsler jersey. TexasRangers.com to get your tickets. Kinsler line shot, but is vacuumed up by Callaspo, and the Rangers are turned away, leaving Vlad Guerrero on deck. It stays 4-2.
Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Budweiser. This week, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific.
Local teams, local sports, local connection. FoxSportsSouthwest.com.
The Home Depot presents doing more on defense. Scott Feldman really did it all in the 5th inning. 3 balls hit back to him, and they took care of all of them. This last one by Aviles had to hurt a little bit. Feldman now out of the game. In fact, we saw Chris Ray last inning. And now another change. And this one's a little bit odder, I guess, Tom, because you got a guy in the rotation out there right now. That's Derek Holland.
Yeah, the oddest thing is 3 off days in an 8-day period in the middle of the season, which I can't remember ever having. But because of those off days, if Derek didn't throw today, he's going to pitch on the 30th. That's when he's scheduled to pitch. That would be 9 days between starts. Today is his normal rest to get an inning and then have 3 days before his next start. So it's kind of really a tune-up to stay sharp rather than have that much time off. Probably what they have in mind.
So Holland to Guillen. And a foul into the crowd of 14,722. Now you don't want Derek not touching a baseball at all between the 21st and whatever that is, the 20, well, I guess the 30th.
30th.
So getting that inning in right now and trying to keep the Rangers close. Guillen takes a cut and pops it towards the crowd. They do have the lights on now here at Kauffman Stadium. We mentioned kind of an overcast day as it's turned out. Derek Holland strikes out Guillen. who have been hit by a pitch a couple times today.
He set it up with a good fastball and then got him with his much improved slider. Down and in. Good pitch. That is a strikeout pitch right there.
Now Holland to Cayaspo. As you look ahead to the Rangers' 9th inning. Again, the Kansas City closer Joakim Soria is in the forecast. Guerrero, Hamilton, and Cruz to bat against him. The Rangers, though, who mentioned earlier, they were able to tee off against Soria in a game earlier this year. Hamilton and Guerrero, in fact, each hit homers off of Soria. Those are going to be the guys that come up in the 9th. That was a crazy 13-12 game. Holland cuts that outside corner, 1-2. The Rangers had a 1-0 lead and didn't really hold on to it for too long. The Royals came back with 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd. Rangers back with 1 in the 6th. Then the Royals took the lead with 2 in the bottom of that 6th inning. The Billy Butler home run, the tiebreaker. Now, even if the Rangers cannot rally, they're still looking at a very successful run these last 5 weeks. The Rangers are 18-9 in their last 27. 21-11 their last 32. Pounded down the left field line. That's fair. Into the corner it goes. Alberto Cayaspo, one of the quietest 300 hitters in baseball. A 1-out double against Holland.
He took advantage of a pitch he liked. Looks like a high fastball. Inside part of the plate. Tomahawked it down the left field line for a double. Got a quick bat. Doesn't strike out very much. Contact hitter. Doesn't walk a whole lot. Going to go up there swinging. And he's a pretty good extra base guy. 12 doubles, 7 home runs.
Another good contact hitter coming up now, Mitch Meyer. The strikeout of Guillen, by the way, in this 8th inning, Tom, is the first strikeout all game for the Rangers. Scott Feldman didn't have one.
Now, Scott didn't have a strikeout, but he threw a lot of good pitches and got a lot of weakly hit balls for outs. So in that regard, it was a successful outing. There's a lot of choppers to first base. There were several back to the mound, soft fly balls. So it wasn't a game where he was hit hard consistently the whole game.
That ball popped up off the bat of Meyer. Cruz drifting in to get it. Rough times for these Kansas City Royals, as we've talked about. They seem to have tempered expectations here in 2010, even though it looks like a pretty winnable AL Central. Minnesota with Joe Nathan out all year. The Tigers, not really what you'd say a complete team, but both those teams are playing a lot better than Kansas City. In the last 6 years, Tag, the Royals have had more 100-loss seasons than the Cubs have had in their 130-year history. But they are a very loyal fan base here still. Holland zooms that one in, gets ahead 0-2. One thing the Rangers have not done yet today is homer. They did that 4 times in the game yesterday. The 2 of them by Vlad Guerrero. Vlad now has 29 runs batted in just in the month of May. And he will be leading off for the Rangers in the 9th.
Well, depending on what happens in the 9th inning, the Rangers bullpen will probably go into Minnesota as well rested as it's been since opening day.
Yep.
Nippert and Francisco will have, I think, 4 days off apiece. O'Day and Felice a couple of days off. Darren Oliver a couple of days off between the last time he pitched. Then they play 3 games in Minnesota and have another off day.
Bloomquist turns on it. Hamilton won't get it. And the Royals pad their lead. Couple of doubles off of Derek Holland here. It's 5-2.
Another good game for Bloomquist. He's had a sac fly and a double in his last 2 times at bat. Valuable utility guy because he can play any place on the field. Didn't get off to a great start with a bat, but he's had good at bats against the Rangers.
Mike Maddox goes back to the dugout, and Holland now will be dealing with Chris Getz, the former Chicago White Sox. Kansas City's been scoring a lot of runs lately. In fact, 5 of their last 6 games coming in today, they'd put either 7, 8, or 9 on the board. Ooh, look out. Eric Cooper got that one. The home plate umpire, but he bounces right back up.
He got it right in the left shoulder.
Taken, that's a strike. Nine hits for Kansas City, 6 for the Rangers. Really got to take a bow in the general direction of Luke Hochevar. The Rangers team that was swatting the ball all over the yard last night. Top batting average in the majors in the month of May. The Rangers. Slowly hit. Holland will hustle it across. Got him barely in time. 1 run added for Kansas City. 5-2, and they're looking at their closer, Joakim Soria. Kansas City's leading 5-2, and this weekend, Fox Saturday Baseball, it is the Rangers and the Twins. Michael Young and Joe Mauer head-to-head. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Budweiser, returning at 3 Central on Saturday. Check your local listings. Vlad Guerrero against Joakim Soria. Now one is up and in. Talking about the AL Central, the Rangers and the Twins will be getting it together, and the Twins are the first place team in the Central. As you look at those Jack-in-the-Box standings. Now, Vlad Guerrero and Josh Hamilton will be the first 2 to bat against Soria. And they both had home runs against Soria back about 3.5 weeks ago. They were batting in the flip-flopped order at that point. Hamilton third, Guerrero fourth. Today it is Guerrero fourth and Hamilton fifth, and Vladdy goes up 3-0.
Soria has thrown 17 innings, 6 walks, 25 strikeouts.
That was that crazy 13-12 game where the Rangers did win it. That is a 1 loss that Soria's absorbed. He otherwise is 10 out of 11 if you discount that in save opportunities. 3-2. Vladdy didn't like the call. A smash, and they had him played real well. Chris gets behind the bag. A moderated version of what Ron Washington used to do with Vlad up there. That shift, right hand pull shift.
Vlad's grounded out 4 times today. The fans, I think, recognize that, let out a big cheer. After what Vlad did to him last night, I don't blame him.
Hamilton, a little check swing. Oh, did not mean to do that. And the Rangers are down to their last out. This would be, believe it or not, the second biggest loss all year for the Rangers at 3 runs. The only worst loss was 8-4 to Detroit. Strike one to Nelson Cruz as Luke Kochaver getting close to getting to 5-2. Colby Lewis gets the start Friday. As the Rangers will be checking out brand new Target Field in Minnesota. Wave and a miss. Lays off that big looping breaking ball. Works it to 3-2. Justin Smoak on deck. On the ground near short. And Nelson Cruz will be the final out. The Royals have finally beaten the Rangers this year after losing the first 5. Luke Kochaver was excellent. Career save number 100 for Soria. It's in support of 8 real nice innings from Kochaver. And again, your final, Kansas City 5 and the Rangers 2. Back in just a moment on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Ranger Baseball brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag, it's on. By Progressive, for a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. And by the Ford F-150, check out the 2010 F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Texas. Now the Royals salvage one game here. Luke Kochaver tag had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, they had a well-pitched game today. Kochaver was on his game right from the start. Rangers had a couple little spurts, back-to-back hits, and scored a couple times against him. But overall, he was in command, and they did enough offensively. Even though I thought Scott Feldman threw the ball well himself. He ended up giving up 4 runs in 6 2/3, but I think that's a start he can build on. He looked improved, had better quality stuff, better command of it, and hopefully that'll just take off from here.
Rangers now have the night off in Minneapolis and another one tomorrow. And then on Friday, the Rangers and the Twins. That game will be on TXA 21. The Rangers will have a record of 26-21 when that game begins. Rangers Live coming up next with John and Buzz. Stay tuned for that.
Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Did the cavemen invent fire? Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Is Ed Too Tall Jones too tall?